So finding the derivative of an inverse function, you need to understand the relationship between the two functions, and obviously it needs to be stated here that f and g are inverses of each other. So what you need to remember is that algebraically, inverses are obtained by switching the x and the y coordinates, and then graphically the inverses are a reflection across the line y is equal to x. So if you have an equation, you would switch x and y and solve for y. If you have the coordinates, all you do is switch x and y. So if the function f passes through a given point a, b, and the slope of this curve at x equals a is represented by f prime of a, then you would also have the ratio of the change in y over the change in x, which is delta y over delta x. Okay, so this is just basically rise over run. So when this figure, meaning the graph right here, is reflected across the line y equals x, we would obtain the graph of the inverse, meaning f to the negative 1. Okay, meaning all the x and y coordinates from your original function switch. Okay, so what happens is now you know that this point f to the negative 1, or the inverse, passes through the point BA, and the horizontal and vertical sides of the slope triangle are interchanged, meaning instead of delta y over delta x, you end up with delta x over delta y. Okay, and this is the reciprocal of the slope of f at x equals a. So if you're given a point on f, meaning the point AB, and you know that g is the inverse of this given function f, if f prime of a is equal to m, meaning the slope at some given a value is m, then the slope of g at the point B, because now this instead of AB it's BA, would be 1 over m. They are just reciprocals, not negative reciprocals, just reciprocals. So in summary, the derivative of the inverse of a function at a given point is the reciprocal of the derivative of the function at the corresponding point. So what we need to take a look here is, this is your line of reflection, y is equal to x, okay? And what you have here is your original function f, okay? So you use rise over run, meaning f prime is equal to the slope, okay? And this here is your point, so this would be f prime of a, and that would be delta y over delta x, the change in y over the change in x. When you reflect this graph over the line y equals x, all of the characteristics that went with x now belong to y, and that belong to y now belong with x. So what happens here is if we're looking for f inverse prime, meaning the inverse's derivative, okay, at b, because now these switched. If you take a look, that's b comma a instead of a comma b. Okay, this will now be equal to 1 over m, which is the same thing as delta x over delta y. Okay, so you really need to keep track of everything.